I know. It's been such a tough year, love. It can be so difficult for us to feel grateful. It requires work and energy to lift ourselves up and be thankful in the midst of such challenges. Often it seems easier to focus on what we're lacking or what's missing from our lives. And there's a reason our brains keep migrating to the difficulties of life. It's because those require us to take some action. They occupy the front of our thoughts and minds because they are compelling us to do something about them. The positive things, on the other hand, well, they're just there, being all positive, seemingly not requiring us to do anything. So we don't pay attention to, forget about, and even neglect the positive things in our lives. But the good things in our lives need to be maintained and cared for too. If we neglect them, they can go away, or they can also become negatives and challenges. But no matter how tired we are, we can do both. We can attend to the challenges at hand, and we can protect those positive things in our lives. And that's where giving thanks comes in. The act of being grateful helps give us the strength to deal with our most difficult challenges, while reminding us that those positive things must not be taken for granted. And that is what this time of the year was made for, being mindful about being thankful. Gratitude has incredible benefits to the mind, body, and spirit. While stuffing and mashed potatoes may be the holiday food for your body, the act of being grateful is the holiday food for your soul. It actually takes over your brain and pours happiness and healing through your mind. Science has shown again and again that practicing gratitude, whether out loud, in our heads, or in writing, lifts our mood and strengthens our mental health. It's because of people like Roland Zahn and his scientist friends that we know gratitude works directly on our brains. It raises the levels of the natural feel-good chemicals dopamine and serotonin, which are so powerful they can even alleviate physical pain. Gratitude is such a force that it creates new neural connections that go directly to the bliss center of our brain, the prefrontal cortex. Gratitude can actually change our brains as we train ourselves to filter negative thoughts and nurture positive thinking. Gratitude regulates our body's stress hormones like cortisol, which are directly connected to fear, anxiety, and depression, and in doing so, makes us more resilient to future negative events and emotional setbacks. It raises our levels of happiness, improves our relationships and our physical health. It reduces stress and even improves our quality of sleep. Gratitude also removes the blinders of negativity and gives us a chance to look away from toxic emotions and in the direction of the positive emotions that can nurture and heal. A reset that just might get us back on track. Being grateful and thankful distracts us from what's bad, even if just temporarily. In those moments we're feeling grateful, it is not possible for us to also feel depressed, irritated, or worried. And best of all, gratitude is the gift that keeps giving long after the holidays. The more gratitude you experience, the more you feel and want, and the more powerful its positive effect becomes. When we take a look at all of those incredible brain, mind, body, and spirit benefits, why wouldn't we choose to use gratitude as one of the greatest tools in our life kits? Why wouldn't we make it one of the strongest drugs in our spiritual medicine cabinets? We can set our alarms every 4 hours to remind ourselves to take our dose of gratitude. And being grateful doesn't require insurance, a copay, or even cost money. Let's take advantage of the energy of thankfulness this time of the year and use it as a catalyst, as a motivating force to create new traditions and daily practices centered around being grateful every day throughout the entire year. I'm also going to suggest something even more powerful. Yes, being thankful for what we have, but also for what we don't have. Not just for the good favors and blessings that fell on our thankful hearts, but for the burdensome and even terrible, awful things as well. Is that pushing it too much? Does that sound too difficult? Well, there's a method to what might seem like madness, so let me very briefly dip us into the history of the Thanksgiving holiday, to the olden days of what they called proclamations of thanksgiving and humiliation, so you can see how those traditions of long ago might just help us survive and thrive in these times as humans today. In 1500s England, the Protestants had a religious practice they called Days of Thanksgiving and Feasting. And they also practiced what they called Days of Humiliation and Fasting. The Days of Humiliation and Fasting were announced to mark events they considered to be God's judgment on them. For example, a plague or a drought or a lost battle. The Day of Humiliation would be announced by proclamation, and the people, from youth to elders, would be called on for the entire day to attend church, to pray for forgiveness and mercy, to meditate on their sins and repent for them, and to fast, to refrain from food and drink. It was thought that these actions would appease God's wrath, and the hardship would end, or turn around, or be prevented from happening again. The Days of Thanksgiving and Feasting were called on to mark events they considered to be demonstrations of God's mercy or benevolence. For example, a bountiful harvest or a military victory or the ending of a plague or drought. And the Day of Thanksgiving would be announced, and the people would be called to forego work and go to church, to sing and pray in gratitude, to worship and give thanks for whatever particular events or circumstances had gone in their favor, and then they would feast. When the English settlers of the 1620s and 1630s came across the ocean to the new land, they brought those church traditions of humiliation and fasting and thanksgiving and feasting with them to the New England. You can imagine that during those trying times, church leaders called for many, many occasions of both thanksgiving and humiliation. There were some bigger religious celebrations of thanksgiving and feasting, like the famous ones at Plymouth Colony in 1619, or the one at Charles City County, Virginia in 1621. And those particular proclamations of thanksgiving are the ones which probably led to the formal modern American traditions many of us observe on the last Thursday of November of each year, the one most of us read about in our school history books. Now, those events of 400 years ago definitely didn't unfold like we learned about in our third grade Thanksgiving play. It was actually a very dark and mournful time for the indigenous peoples of the land. But we're going to save that story for a separate occasion when we can treat it with the care and reverence it deserves. For now, and for today's purposes, we'll remain focused on one of the most positive intentions behind those feasting days, which was thankfulness. To really do that, though, I also need to bring forward the old traditions of humiliation. Not so we can suffer and fast. No, we've had more than enough challenges this year. We definitely don't need to throw humiliations in there. What I want us to do is take those days of challenges and the emotions that go with them, and instead transform them into new opportunities for Thanksgiving. Allow me to explain. The thankful events of our lives are easy. They coexist with us with no problems and bring positive energies our way. The challenging events, on the other hand, by definition, tend to be difficult. but they don't have to be branded into our minds and lives as bad, with us always fighting against them or the memory of them. We can use the powers of gratitude to transform them from vehicles of negativity into vehicles of learning, of growth, and of possibility. There is alchemy in gratitude, one which can help us see that powerful good exists in even the worst of situations. And we can build up our grateful forces and abilities in the process, giving ourselves protection from future challenging events. And so let's focus our minds around the obvious good things we have in our lives, but also those things that we feel are bad, those things we believe haven't gone in our favor, so to speak, to transform the dark spots by perceiving them in a new light, a transformation made possible in part by gratitude. So, how do we do this, you might be asking? Well, we've put together 5 different ways to conjure up the powerful forces of gratitude and thankfulness. You can practice them at the holidays, and you can practice them for life. Let's begin with the holidays. If you've chosen not to have an in-person celebration with family and friends this year, consider using these practices to make the day your very own personal Thanksgiving retreat. Spend the day cooking up huge portions of gratitude, and if you wish, you can finish by serving them up and celebrating them with your favorite kind of feast. In addition to the beloved tradition of taking a holiday carb nap, you can add a session of gratitude meditation and a stroll in a place of nature that gives you lots of things for which to be thankful. If you do have a social event planned, you can use these same practices in the days leading up to the holidays to make the time and events calmer, happier, more meaningful, and more memorable. The stronger the feelings of daily gratitude you cultivate and nurture, the happier you'll feel each day. By the time the big day is here, you'll not only be feeling more grateful, you'll be tapped directly into the energy of gratitude. With these bricks, you'll construct a house of thanksgiving, which you can continue building and reside in long after the holidays. Building gratitude number 1, list your thanksgivings and transform your humiliations. Many of us are already familiar with the act of keeping a daily gratitude journal or making lists of things for which we're grateful. And those are exceptional practices with scientifically demonstrated positive results for your mind, body, and spirit. But I want to expand on those familiar exercises and ask you to give thanks for not only what you have, but what you don't. Not only for the positive elements that have entered your life, but the challenges as well. So first, the Thanksgivings. You'll begin by writing down all the people, things, and events in your life for which you are grateful. Every single thing, from whatever health you have in this moment, to the food delivery person, to being able to afford toilet paper, all of them. No matter how small they seem or how much we take them for granted, they contribute to our lives in positive ways that we often overlook. For each item, try not to just scribble it down. Try to feel the emotion of gratitude within you as you picture each thing in your mind. When you're finished with that list, you'll make a special and separate list for all those things which you think haven't gone well for you. Those things that took the wind out of your sails, that pulled the rug out from under you, even the ones that left you reeling. The ones for which you've had a very difficult time being thankful. No matter how bad they were, how trying they were, you are going to fight to grow at least one flower from the fertilizer. For each challenge you list, I want you to look deep within it and find at least one thing for which to be thankful, one blessing in your burden. Perhaps you can find gratitude in a powerful lesson you learned from it. Maybe you can find thankfulness in how it moved you off a path that was not in your highest good. or in some newfound awareness of humility or forgiveness or caution. Even if your thanks are found in the fact that it's over, your quest is to find something positive. As with your Thanksgiving list, try to feel the emotion of gratitude as you reflect on the positive aspect. When you've completed that second list, go back over the entire list of things for which you have to be grateful, and then give thanks for that too. Building gratitude number 2, thank you notes to friends and foes. Now, hopefully you don't have any foes or enemies or nemesis for that matter. That seems a very Game of Thrones or Hatfields and McCoy's thing to do, and a waste of precious mind and heart resources, especially in this day and age. But the point of this next practice is similar to the point of including humiliations along with the Thanksgivings. The power of gratitude lies in finding it everywhere, and the negativity lurking in the mind and spirit only serve to weaken its force. And so, for this practice, your thanks will focus not only on those people for whom it's easy to find gratitude, but in those for whom it's difficult. To love the unlovable, so to speak. Anyone for whom you harbor any negative feelings or energies, bitterness, or bad memories. Those lingering negativities serve no one. As many writers have said, holding on to resentment is like drinking doses of poison and then waiting for the other person to die. So if you still harbor residual feelings towards someone in your life, consider that perhaps now is the time to dump the poison and allow this practice to help you begin. First, you'll write notes to the people to whom you're thankful. Anyone for anything. The purpose is to generate feelings of gratitude within you by appreciating and recognizing the benefits we receive from those in our lives, those we may often take for granted. It doesn't need to be a long note. Studies have shown that even 5 minutes of gratitude writing has benefits. And it doesn't need to be about people we know well. It can be the mail carrier who always makes sure to put your packages out of the rain, or your neighbor the nurse whom you haven't seen for 9 months because she's constantly working long shifts at the hospital, or your delivery person who went through the grocery store shelves and lines so that you wouldn't have to. You don't have to send these notes, but it might be lovely if you do, especially as a gesture of thanksgiving. After you've done that, next try to write a note or two to those in your life with whom you have challenges. Maybe it's the friend that drives you absolutely crazy but always brings you soup when you're sick. Maybe it's the boss who was so difficult that you had to learn a new skill that benefited you greatly. Or the family member who was so negative that it forced you to reflect upon and rein in your own habits of negativity. No matter who it is, choose someone for whom you struggle to be grateful and dig deep to find the way to giving thanks for them in your life. If you find enough grateful things, consider letting them know. Even if you don't, the act of reflecting on gratitude can transmute old, harsh feelings into new and positive ones, which, as we now know, have a powerful benefit on your health and your life. Building gratitude number 3, in all things give thanks. Let's face it, when we find our way to the holidays, it's easy to lose our perspective and patience or begin thinking with a scarcity mentality instead of one of abundance. With the good things, we're usually flying through so many of them that we don't give ourselves the chance to appreciate the abundance they represent in our lives. We tend to focus and linger on the bad things, sometimes causing us to miss the happy and beautiful things that pass us by while we're distracted looking the other way. So for this practice, we're going to literally say the words, "Thank you" to everything. And I mean everything. not just the things which are going our way or the things which make us happy, but the things that are challenging as well. This practice is simple. Whatever noticeable thing comes your way, you'll simply say the words, "Thank you," out loud or in your head, and then consider for a moment what about it deserves gratitude. For the good things, give thanks. When you're in the grocery store shopping for the holidays, say thank you for each and every item that goes in your cart, reflecting on the abundance of products and choices you have before you. When you pay for your items, say thank you for the ability to make those purchases when you hand over the credit card. When you're driving home or on the bus or train with all your bags, say thank you for the warm, safe transportation. Grabbing a quick hot cocoa or coffee to go, stopping for gas, going to the ATM, everything that crosses your path, look at it and declare your thankfulness for it. For the challenges, also give thanks. The holidays are rife with potential for perceived problems, but even in those, we can transform the negativity in our minds by giving thanks. When we're stuck in an ocean of traffic, we can say thank you to all the cars around us for forcing us to slow down our pace to avoid dangers that may lie up ahead. We can say thank you to the rude driver for reminding us to be more patient and kind. We can say thank you for the trust that everything happens in its perfect timing, and there must be a reason we've slowed down. While we're there, we can also find gratitude in having transportation, the money to buy gas or bus or train tickets or passes, the cargo we may be carrying, and for the destination towards which we're heading, or the one from which we left. We can say thank you for everything from the extra holiday cooking and cleaning to the piles of dirty dishes. See them as symbols of the abundance which is taking place and the minds and hearts which were able to partake in them. Those three practices, your list of thanksgivings, your thank you notes, and saying thank you for all things, will help you generate strong feelings of thankfulness and gratitude for the holidays. You can continue them long after the celebrations are over and add these next two for a daily dose of gratitude for life. Try these for 3 weeks and witness not only your mood and levels of happiness improve, but your ability to generate new gratitude as well. Building gratitude number 4, 2 minutes to grateful. This exercise can take as little as 2 minutes. That is 120 seconds. We are blessed with 86,400 seconds each day, and I believe every single person, no matter how important they are, busy they are, or stressed they are, can devote 120 of them to give gratitude. To be clear, even if you dedicate 180 seconds, you still have 86,220 seconds left in that day. For this practice, at the same time each day, you'll go to your journal or notebook and fill in these 5 blanks. Number 1, one thing to be grateful about myself is. Number 2, one aspect of my health for which I'm grateful is. Number 3, one current challenge in my life for which I'm grateful is. Number 4, one person for whom I am grateful is. And finally, number 5, one thing in nature for which I'm grateful is. These 5 gratitude pills, when taken every day, can help begin to provide all of the beneficial effects which gratitude brings into your life. And the more you take, the more benefit you'll receive. Building gratitude number 5, shift the conversation. Something I've heard many people talk about, especially this year, is how negative other people have become. And to emphasize their point, they too then begin to talk negatively about all those negative other people. we don't even realize what we're doing. And so I would like us to consider beginning a new practice of introducing gratitude into every one of our conversations, especially the negative ones. You can use thankfulness as a conversation starter or a social media post. For example, I'm doing a new gratitude practice. What are you grateful for today? Or I'm taking a poll. What are you thankful for? If a conversation or social media thread turns to negative news or complaining about other people or the problems of the world, instead of getting hooked in and contributing to the conversation and building upon the negative energy, try introducing gratitude. For example, yes, I agree, it's so easy to find negative things these days, but I have an idea. Let's talk about what we're grateful for instead. People may be caught off guard at first if you try this. Contrarians or keyboard warriors may stutter or stammer or say, I don't know, you tell me, or what's there to be grateful for? If that's the case, then we can shine a light and lead the way and help them out with a clue or two about that which we can be very grateful. We could start with, well, we're sitting here alive and talking with each other. That's a very good start. Or the kids are healthy. That's a great place to begin. Or we ate today. That's definitely a positive. See if you can make it a goal. #gratitude goals to infuse every conversation with thankfulness. It not only serves to distract, filter, and shift the negativity out of the conversations, it helps build up your gratitude reserves. And very importantly, it models a thankful way for others, giving them a chance to benefit from the powers of gratitude and possibly pass it on. In that way, you are not only amplifying the positive intentions and emotions of Thanksgiving, but giving them a chance to spread far beyond you to the world. That is a very special gift, one that is energizing, empowering, and strengthening. One you can give every day of the year, and one for which to be very, very grateful.